Dr. Paula Bohr is granddaughter of Professor Niels Bohr, one of the principal architects of quantum mechanics and a towering figure in the intellectual history of modern physics. Her father, Professor Bohr, also contributed significantly to theoretical physics and was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1975, further extending the scientific legacy of the Bohr family. Dr. Bohr completed her medical degree in 1986 in Denmark, after which she practiced in various areas of healthcare, including pediatrics, child physiatry, and preventive medicine. Her clinical work was grounded in a deep concern for the well-being of children and public health. Owing to personal health challenges, she stepped away from active medical practice in 2000, which led her to explore broader philosophical and humanistic questions that intersect with the values underpinning scientific inquiry. In recent years, Dr. Bohr has engaged deeply with the ethical and epistemological dimensions of science, drawing from both her grandfather's writings and her own study of spiritual traditions. Her work reflects a continued interest in the concept of openness, a theme that was central to Niels Bohr's reflection on science, society, and international dialogue. In 2015, she authored a widely read article titled "Who Will Continue the Legacy of Niels Bohr?", published in one of Denmark's leading newspapers. And in 2019, she contributed an essay on Niels Bohr's open letter and its philosophical significance as part of a conference hosted by the University of Copenhagen. Dr. Bohr has also contributed to discussions on the relationship between scientific and ethical inquiry, particularly in the context of science and compassion, an area in which she continues to write and speak. Her work invites reflection on how scientific knowledge can be embedded within a broader framework of human values, an orientation that resonates strongly with her grandfather's interdisciplinary outlook. Her talk today is titled Niels Bohr and the Open World, in which she will explore the philosophical undercurrents of her grandfather's thought and their resonance in today's world.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction. And it is such an honor for me to be participating today. I convey my sincere salutations to His Holiness Bhaktisarupa Brayapati Swami and to all the distinguished professors, students, and everyone else online. It is a great honor for me to speak at this conference, and I thank you very much for this opportunity. The Bhaktivedanta Institute's commitment to merging modern science and technology with spiritual traditions is indeed meaningful to me. Niels Bohr, my grandfather, was a man who integrated scientific knowledge with spiritual wisdom, which I will elaborate further. When I was 40 years old, my father gave me an old statue of Buddha that had belonged to my grandfather. It stood in his home office at Carlsberg in Denmark, and every day he consulted with it. Niels Bohr had brought the statue on his trip to Japan in 1937. Along with the statue, my father provided a letter from which I will share an excerpt. My father wrote, "Grandfather had the statue, standing in his study at Carlsberg on top of a chest of drawers, and he had a floor lamp, which he used to illuminate it from different angles, thereby giving it a varying expression. He was very happy to show it to guests, and in connection with this, the conversation often turned to the philosophy of the East, which he had encountered on his journeys. He sent in the Eastern way of thinking a certain harmony with his own view of life, contraria sunt complementa, meaning that the opposites complement each other. My father then quoted one of my grandfather's papers. Although the closest possible union of justice and love is a common goal in all cultures, it must be recognized that every occasion that calls for a strict application of the law has no place for the manifestation of love, and conversely, benevolence and compassion can bring us into conflict with every notion of justice. And he ends his letter by quoting Niels. This relationship, which in many religions finds its mystical expression in the struggle between divine personifications of such ideals, is emphasized in ancient Oriental philosophy as a reminder that in our search for harmony in existence, we must never forget that on the stage of life, we are both actors and spectators. Research is conducted with strict adherence to mythologies, while spirituality focuses on our values, the importance of love and compassion. The aim is to achieve harmony by integrating both aspects in life. During Second World War, when Niels Bohr realized the upcoming reality of atomic weapon, he was indeed concerned for the future of the planet. As always, he turns his concern into practical action. He saw himself as someone with special insight in the range and danger of atomic weapon and took it on his shoulders to make the leaders of the Allies understand the gravity of the situation. Through all his connections, he managed to establish meetings with both Churchill and Eisenhower during the war to express his concern and the solution he saw. They were, however, not open to his ideas. The world was not open for so far-reaching change as his ideas would create. After the war in 1950, he decided instead to address his thoughts into an open letter to the UN. His solution was an open world. In Denmark, Niels Bohr had created an institute for physics with outstanding results in physics. But it was not only that. Niels Bohr managed to create a center that connected physicists from all over the world and created a community of brotherhood, as we have heard in the speech of Robert. This was new and had a huge effect on the events during and after the war. Niels Bohr was also very active in helping as many German physicists he could escape Hitler's race law and help them get positions in England or United States where he had many connections. One could say it was not surprising that he came up with the solution of an open world. He writes, "An open world where each nation can assert itself solely by the extent to which it can contribute to the common culture and is able to help others with experience and resources must be the goal to be put above everything else." The principle of cooperation and brotherhood were deeply ingrained in Niels Bohr. From the old spiritual scripts, the Maha Upanishad, we have been given the truth for a harmonious and happy life. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family. One could say that an open world is a practical implementation of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and even AI agrees with me on this. Knowingly or unknowingly, Niels Bohr once again brought forward the old Eastern truths to solve a problem. The true disaster was that after the war, the decisions in science changed hands from the science universe to that of the military. By that, science became even further away from the values of friendship and brotherhood. My grandfather did not find common ground with any state leaders until he met Prime Minister Nehru. After the war, he developed a close friendship with the first Prime Minister of Bharat. In a letter from Niels Bohr to Nehru, Niels Bohr thanked him for the private time they shared with Nehru's family and for the talks which Niels Bohr so appreciated. He writes, "All that I learned, and especially my talks with you, which will always be some of my most treasured remembrances, reaffirmed me in my expectations of the role which your country is called to play in the operation of the creation of brotherhood between nations, which is necessary for the future of mankind. In this great cause, the closest possible international collaboration will be of decisive importance. Here in Denmark, we shall be happy if we can, in any field, even in the most modest way, offer any advice or assistance from our small country." In 2011, I was so privileged to be invited to give a speech about Niels Bohr at the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University in Kerala, founded by the well-known humanitarian and spiritual leader Mata Amritandamayi. The subject of the international conference was Wireless Technologies for Humanitarian Relief. I had known Mata Amritandamayi, or just Amma, since 2003, and through her been introduced to the rich teachings of the Vedas. Amma showed me what compassion was by being a living example of her teachings. It touched me so deeply, and I was inspired to serve from my heart and saw it created a different reality from when I served as I was taught at medical school in Denmark. This was when I finally found the meaning in life I had been searching for. I began to listen deeply to Amma's teaching and messages about spirituality and found out how important these values was for my quality of life. The Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University is founded on equal importance of compassion and science. Combining spirituality and science positively impacted global issues, benefiting both receivers and givers, and empowering all involved. I remembered my father and grandfather's words to me, to always use science for the good. And I could hear their practically heartfelt prayer coming true in a very different way anybody could have imagined. This was when I decided to write a book about my grandfather's ideas and the hope there can be for a future when we understand the benefit of valuing science and spirituality as complementary. The book is called The Uncertainty Principle of Hope and will hopefully soon be published. I just will show a few pictures here. Yes, so this is a little picture of my grandfather and me teaching me to eat. It's in the summer house in Tisvilde. And I just want to show, the way I remember Niels Bohr. He was so deeply engaged in people he was together with, and he engaged all of him in the purpose, as you can see here. And this is the Buddha statue I inherited from my father, and he inherited from Niels Bohr. And actually, Nishina, who Robert talked about, was with him when he bought the statue in the Daibutsu temple in Japan in 1937. And here's also a very sweet picture of my grandfather and I, walking hand in hand, which I think is so sweet. And this is here together with Mata Amritandamayi at the conference in 2011. So thank you very much for giving me this possibility to share.